Right, 10 minutes before 7 here on the programme. Well, we're talking politics, we're talking the aftermath of the elections that we covered so extensively that I'm sure you're tired of hearing. Well, I can tell you, I'm waiting for all those posters to go down to know that things can come back to normal. But unfortunately, there's still a lot of things to talk about in the aftermath of the 2014 general elections. But now it's all within the political parties and the decisions that they make to lead these parties forward for the next 5 years. We've pretty much so covered what's going to be happening within the DA, or what Proffesor Tinyiko Maluleke thinks is going to be happening. And now let's move on to the ANC, because it's also a big day for the ANC in terms of announcing that Premier candidate list. And I think the one that really needs to be looked at is that of Gauteng. It's an interesting one. We've got Premier Nomvula Mokonyane as the current or the outgoing Premier right now, but she needs to be replaced. And who are we looking at? Who do you think?
Well, I see you nailing your colours to the mast to say she needs to be replaced.
She doesn't. She could still stay in that position.
She could stay on. It's possible that she could stay on.
Okay.
So I see some people already ruling her out, but you never know if she will be ruled out. The ANC has got to look at Gauteng very carefully. I mean, given the way they fared in the elections, I think they must be looking, I mean, I would suggest that they look for a premier who's going to address some of the challenges that they have faced and not simply keep the show going, as it were, because 53–54% is what they got. They could lose this province next time. So the premier becomes a very vital appointment. And woman, male, you know, the gender issue comes into play. The two centers of power. Do you get a premier who is not the chairperson? And what happens in that situation? We know that that was part of the problem with Nomvula Mokonyane and Paul Mashatile. Do you want to continue that trajectory at all? Or do you want to have all 8 provinces being male premiers, because all the chairpersons are male in the ANC now? So those are some of the things that they have to look at when they consider who they appoint as premier here. But as you said, we will know by the end of today. We will know by the end of today. But let's guess a little. We'll bring out our crystal balls and look at some of those that are tipped for that position. So we cannot rule out Nomvula. She's still in the running, as we say. But the name that keeps coming up is David Makhura. Do you think he is possibly the right man for the job? I know you question the gender and thinking that perhaps it could be a female, but David Makhura's name still is right up there. No, he's a very solid ANC leader. I mean, with a lot of credentials, has been serving the ANC in this province for a very long time in a very important capacity. So there is absolutely no question about his ability to do the job. But as you and I know, it's not only your credentials and your ability to do the job that determines whether you get a job like this. There are other considerations. But he certainly is a very strong candidate. But so is Barbara Creecy, whose name has also cropped up. She's done a fantastic job in education, in Gauteng education. I believe they just won a prize recently. Yeah, I was having a look at that now, some UN prize. I mean, she's done a very good job. She really has done a good job, and she is also a great possibility. But if you were to force me to put my head on the block, I would put David Makhura's name ahead of hers and ahead of that of Nomvula, or there's another person I think who's also mentioned, but David Makhura is probably going to be the possibility here. But you know, I'm guessing, and I could be wrong. Could be wrong. In terms of the other provinces, we've looked at Gauteng and how vitally important Gauteng is, because the ANC took a very big knock in this province. What about other provinces? Are there any other provinces that need massive attention? I don't think so. I don't think the ANC has got as much problems with the other provinces as I think Limpopo is virtually made. I think they're going to retain. I mean, it's my view again. It's my prediction. Yeah, of course. They're going to retain the current premier because he's just started, and I think for continuity and restoration, because that province was also torn apart. I think that the Eastern Cape is also a province where there's likely to be more continuity than discontinuity. The Northern Cape, perhaps there might be a change, but I don't think there are serious contestations there either. Okay. So I think for all of the other provinces, the ANC should have a pretty the NEC at least shouldn't have had a big headache deciding who's going to lead them. But the Gauteng province might unravel and has been showing signs of unhealthy rivalries, and that's the one that I think needs careful attention.
Well, as Professor said, you'll know by the end of today who the new premiers are in the respective provinces that you live, or if the same premier that you have already does stay on in that position. So we'll get that announcement. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you for coming in and giving us your analysis. Proffesor Tinyiko Maluleke, just talking about the insights of what's happening within the ranks of the DA and, of course, some of the decisions the ANC has to make in this week ahead. Let's take a break. When we